Hey guys, you may have heard about rinseless washing, but the question is, how does it actually work?
It means that we don't need to rinse the vehicle off.
No need to scroll through YouTube, no need to try to find this video or that video. Essentially, I've put our greatest hits here in about 60 minutes.
It's just getting a process down.
With Yvan Lacroix sharing his 40 plus years of wisdom. Welcome to the science behind rinseless washing. We're gonna start with the science and the chemistry. How-to videos with different techniques are coming next. Welcome to Rinseless Wash University. Put in your headphones and enjoy.
Detailing 101, Rinseless Wash. Rinseless Wash is a polymer and surfactant-based liquid that you mix in with water. In the bucket, I have 3 gallons of water, and I have my DIY Detail Rinseless Wash. The dilution ratio is very simple. 1 capful for every gallon. Now, if you like doing math, it's 4 milliliters to a liter, or half an ounce to a gallon, or 256 to 1 dilution. Once I'm done with the rinseless wash, I can mix it up with my legacy sponge. Now it's ready to go. But we want to pre-spray the surface. One way of pre-spraying is with a sprayer like this, or if you have a pump sprayer and a trigger sprayer, that's good as well. Instead of trying to calculate those numbers, 256 to 1, I'm just going to fill the sprayer from my bucket. And we'll edit this part in. You want to pump the pump sprayer till you hear this. It's exhausting the excess. From here, I'm pre-spraying, and the reason I'm pre-spraying is we want to encapsulate and engulf that dirt that's on the surface and start breaking it down or emulsifying it. It's going to start breaking down the dirt, emulsifying it, encapsulating it, and actually lifting it off the surface. From there, deposit the sponge on the paint with no pressure. We're just gliding it along the paint. What the sponge is doing is lifting the dirt off the surface and bringing it into the sponge. The sponge, as soon as we touch it to the water, squeeze it out, it's clean again. From there, we need to dry the vehicle. If you're using a soap and water wash, you do not want to dry without using a drying aid. Because this is a rinseless wash. You don't need to rinse it afterwards. Take a drying towel and simply dry the surface. And there is how you use rinseless wash. If you have any questions, thoughts, or ideas, leave them below. We're always happy to answer. And we'll see you in the next Detailing 101 series.
Welcome to the science behind rinseless washing. I'm Nick.
I'm Ivan, and this is the DIY Detail Podcast.
Ivan has been teaching the rinseless washing method for so long, and we've been getting a lot of people asking us, what makes your rinseless wash so special? Ivan, we speak regularly with the chemist.
Yeah.
We had a ton of feedback as we develop these products.
Right.
We love this stuff. I've been telling people it cleans so well. You're really good at explaining the chemistry side of things.
So the chemistry side of things, the DIY Detail Rinseless Wash has a lot of emulsifiers in it. And those emulsifiers are what really break down the dirt. The other thing we have is surfactants. Now that's a little different for rinseless washes. Not a lot of rinseless washes have surfactants. They'll have emulsifiers, they'll have polymers, we have polymers as well, but we have a high load of surfactants. That makes it so that it cleans spectacularly well. Now, the emulsifiers and the surfactants do one thing though. A lot of people look for one trait in a rinseless wash, and that is that as soon as you touch that sponge to the bucket, the dirt goes to the bottom. And in our case, the dirt doesn't go down to the bottom immediately. And that's actually because of all the emulsifiers we have in it. So one, that the dirt goes straight down to the bottom, not a bad thing, but it doesn't have as strong of a concentration of emulsifiers. What we're doing is we're actually keeping what looks like dirt to our eyes in suspension. Now, the heavy stuff is going to the bottom of the bucket. It's dropping down. The lighter stuff that could actually be considered more like a dye. So it's the oils, it's the other things that are on the car, the diesel soot, the exhaust fumes, etc. like that. They're sort of still in suspension. But because of the surfactants, because of the emulsifiers, they're encapsulated. They're not dangerous to us, and they're not dangerous to the car anymore.
The most basic question folks are going to have about a rinseless wash is it safe?
It is. And rinseless washing, when done properly, so using the right tools, techniques, and they're not super hard to learn techniques. They're not tools that are out of this world. It's just a spectacular cleaner all around.
Oh my gosh, it's not my favorite product because I take it for granted, but without it there would be nothing else.
Yeah.
Like, it's foundational to everything that I do as a detailer. So it's the one I use the most.
Right.
I'm partial to ceramic gloss.
We
as
know.
the last step protection, just for the value.
Yeah.
For what it does, its durability, its pop. But let's go back to rinseless washing. So we broke down like the emulsifiers in our rinseless wash do dirt.
Exactly.
Some of the chemistry behind it. But you were talking about dropping dirt to the bottom of the bucket and how that's something people are used to and how ours might be a little different.
Right. So basically the way we look at it and the way we design the product is a lot of the people that are using the polymer-based rinseless washes, and there's a lot of them out there, that they drop that dirt like a stone. It just straight to the bottom. They're very light on emulsifiers. Emulsifiers keep things in suspension. Think of mayonnaise, okay? It's an emulsification of eggs, of oil, and what's the other thing?
I don't know.
I don't eat mayonnaise. But anyways, there's 3 things in mayonnaise. Someone will tell us what's in mayonnaise. But anyways, that's an emulsification. So it all stays together. And if mayonnaise wasn't so well emulsified, you'd see it on the shelf and it would be 3 different layers. And there's some, let's say, cheaper detailing products on the market. There are some detailing products that they don't do the testing, they don't do all of the color separation tests and all that we've done, and that a lot of great companies do. And you see it on the shelf and it looks like layers. That means their mixture isn't done properly and it's not emulsified. So because of all the emulsifiers, we keep a few things still in suspension. That's why the water can get to looking a little murky. But in reality, what it is keeping in suspension is completely encapsulated. It has no threat whatsoever to the paint. And yes, rinseless is a safer wash than traditional soap and water.
What? Shots fired. Safer?
Safer. The reason it's safer isn't necessarily the wash. It is what happens after the wash. When we're doing a rinseless wash, and rinseless doesn't mean you don't rinse the car before. You will do a pre-rinse. You may even get out the pressure washer. You can do all of that. But rinseless means you leave the solution on the surface while you're drying. And that's where most people scratch their car. They can have the safest wash routine in the world. They've got 18 buckets, 26 wash mitts, foam cannon like you wouldn't believe. The car gets lost in a mountain of foam. But then they rinse all of that away. And it's when they rinse it away and they get out their drying towel that they're actually causing harm to their paint.
Now, we're not shooing you away from a foam cannon wash. We have our incredible suds, which we love. Just make sure you're using a drying aid that adds with some lubrication.
Yeah.
If you're doing a foam cannon wash where at the end when you pressure wash it all off, you're stripping the paint again.
Yeah.
There's nothing there besides water, which is a solvent,
Yeah.
which is going to cause some friction and increase scratch risk.
Right. And we actually have 2 drying aids. So we have quick beads, which is designed to be used with the hose or the pressure washer, meaning you spray it on the vehicle, it's water activated, you spray it off, then you dry the vehicle. And that is a very safe, quick, easy to use drying aid.
We just had somebody on Facebook say they've used a similar product that's been around for a while.
Yeah.
They do a customer's vehicle every 3 months, and they're like, quick beads. The customer's like, that is way shinier than what I'm used to. And so our technology is the latest technology. I mean, the chemistry behind it this is advanced. It's not the same product that maybe you bought 5-6 years ago. I'm going to spray this on and rinse it off. No hate or shade toward any other products, but people are loving Quick Beads who've tried it, right? We're just trying to get people to try these products because they're awesome.
They're awesome, and our chemist is awesome as well. So
we're not biased at all, by the way.
No, but he's done a spectacular job of working with us. We're detailers. We're sort of picky and OCD, and we had going in. We're not going to sell a product that we don't like, and we're not going to sell a product just because we want another product on the shelf. We're doing this for you. We're doing this for us as well as detailers. We want to have a fun product line. We want to make detailing fun. And like I mentioned, we need a drying aid when you're using soap and water. The other one is ceramic gloss. Spray it on and then dry your surface. And it gives you ceramic coating-like protection. There's ceramic in it, and it is going to give you a couple months protection. But with the soap and water wash, you need those to have a safe wash.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit of history.
Yeah.
Let's open the history books and turn to page 12.
Yeah.
Where a younger Yvan Lacroix first learned about rinseless washing. When did rinseless washing come on the market, and what were the initial reactions?
So one of the first rinseless washes I tried was a product called Quick and Easy Wash. And it was in the early 80s. So it was early, mid 80s, somewhere in there. It's been around for a long time. I don't know if QEW is still around. I don't know if the company still exists.
If they're not, R.I.P. QEW.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in our hearts.
Yeah.
You're revived in history. They're probably wildly successful, and we've never heard of them. There's so many brands that are so successful that, like, the detailing, the casual DIYer who goes on YouTube and tries to learn how to detail, that none of us know about.
No.
And the longer we're in the industry, the more I'm like, well, there's a lot of people who are doing a lot of big things, businesses, people behind the scenes. Like, there's big operations that I had never heard of.
Right. So anyways, so QEW was one of the first commercially available, popular rinseless washes. And great product. But it had a few little shortcomings. And like every product, as time goes on, people improve it. Whether the original manufacturer improves it or someone takes that idea and runs with it. And that's what we've done. We've taken the idea of a rinseless wash. I've been using rinseless washes for decades. And it's just, to me, a great technology, but it's one that needed a bit of help. And the polymer-based ones that are strictly polymer-based, they're great products. They work. They do exactly what they're supposed to do. But when you use a wash media, let's say you use a wash mitt sometimes with the rinseless.
Yeah.
It gets sort of gungy and greasy feeling.
I like gungy and greasy.
Yeah.
No, I like our wash mitt.
Yeah.
I use it for Incredible Suds, and then I'll rinse it out and I'll use it for for rinses. But yeah, I know
it'll work for the rinseless. So we developed a foam. Well, I've developed a lot of foam wash sponges for rinseless because it is actually the better wash media for a rinseless wash. You can use multiple towels. You can use wash mitts. You can use all sorts of different things. They all work, but the foam is the safest wash. And that's why we're talking about the foam as well.
If you haven't followed Yvan for a while, he's been in the industry for a long time, and someone that I watched a lot on YouTube, coming up in the game, so to speak. But we all grow, right?
Exactly.
And technology advances, the chemistry advances. Us as humans, we evolve and grow.
Yeah.
And I started as a mobile detailer, and then a shop detailer, and a YouTube channel, and personal and professional growth, right? So here we are.
Exactly.
And this is our version 2, 3.0. You're a rinseless wash celebrity, so to speak. And you're standing by this product. Like, it's not just, here, I'm Yvan, like, here's the latest product that I'm behind. Like, this is a product of you as well.
Right, exactly. So the rinseless wash was very important to us in the line, or to me specifically. Nick, Incredible Suds, was very important to him because he loves the foam cannon. And I'm a fan of the foam cannon as well. A lot of people don't see me that way because before DIY, I was aimed specifically at the professional detailer. And that's what my whole background was helping, and still is, helping professional detailers become entrepreneurs. And the soap and water, the suds, when you're doing your car in your driveway or garage, It is amazingly fun.
It is fun. You have to admit that.
Oh, it's cool.
Okay,
it's playing with the pressure washer, getting the suds everywhere. It is fun. As a professional, you should not be using soap. It's just a waste of time. Literally, it's a waste of time.
I will say though, coming back to product development, there were two things that I was really almost adamant about. I was like, these have to smell good. At the pro level, even the pro level products, they understand that, a compounder polish might as well smell good if you're going to use it, right?
Exactly.
And so at the consumer level, the DIYer, I'm like, it's got to smell good, man. This is about having fun. So all of our products have very pleasant smells, incredible suds, has the grape smell. And then I was like, if we are going to be DIY friendly, which is what we're all about, do it yourself, empowering you, educating you, it's like, we have to have an awesome snow foam. We have to have an awesome, foaming car wash soap. It has to come out of the foam cannon with shaving cream lather, and it has to clean like a mother.
Yeah, and
it has to clean like a what?
Well, it has to clean like a parent, cleaning the house.
I was going for like a mother something. Okay, so it has to clean exceptionally well, and I think that it does. So.
It does. And, to Nick's foaming thing, the Rinseless Wash, you can actually foam it. And that's something that a lot of people for years have been asking. I like the idea of a Rinseless Wash, but I like the foam cannon and I want to foam. So having the high load of surfactants, the high load of emulsifiers in there, we can actually make our Rinseless Wash foam.
Circling back around. Back to some of the comments I've seen on YouTube. What separates your Rinseless Wash? Is it anything special? What is the chemistry behind it? Let's get focused one more time and circle it back around, because I know I take us off into different ideas and spaces, and there's a box, and that's red. And
oh, look,
it's
a
been
squirrel.
A long day. There's a squirrel. But wrapping it back in, let's focus in and kind of reinforce that point.
Right. So chemistry, we have polymers, provide protection, provide lubrication. We have emulsifiers that take that dirt, break it into smaller and smaller and smaller pieces, and also encapsulate as well. And we have surfactants also doing their thing to help lift that dirt off. So you can actually spray it on the surface and see it lifting the dirt off the surface and driving it down. Now, rinseless washing, safety. A lot of people are concerned about safety in rinseless washing, and they confuse waterless washing with rinseless washing. And waterless washing is a completely different technology and a completely different methodology of working. A rinseless wash is closer to your traditional soap and water wash. It's just you're not rinsing it off afterwards. And maybe the tools to apply it are a little different. So a rinseless wash, if you haven't tried one, pick up a bottle of DIY rinseless wash. It's simple. There's a QR code on every one of our bottles that you hit the QR code with your phone. It takes you to the website with the SDS sheets and videos on how to use the product.
One person or a couple have asked me, Nick, I want to use this as a clay lube. Should I change the dilution? And what I've been telling them is 1 ounce to 2 gallons is our dilution for washing the vehicle. That's a perfectly fine dilution for a clay lube. Do you have any other thoughts on that?
If you want to, if you feel the need to, you can go to 128 to 1 or 1 ounce to a gallon. For a clay lube, it's going to give you a little more lubricity. But for us, or for me specifically, when I'm using the rinseless wash as a clay lube, I'm using it in conjunction with something else. It is the foundation of the lubrication for the clay lube, but then I'm cheap and I'm lazy. I want to maximize my time. So I'm going to use an iron remover as an additional lubricant, and for what it's doing as an iron remover, or I'm going to be using Quick Beads. Quick Beads is actually a really good clay lube.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
In combination with the rinseless wash.
Absolutely. There's so much more to say, but I feel like we've covered some big ground.
Yeah.
The future of rinseless washing.
Future of rinseless washing, it is a category that keeps growing and growing and growing, and it's something that an old friend of mine once said. There's 2 types of people, those who use rinseless wash and those who have never tried it.
That's pretty good. I thought you were going to come up with some old cliche.
No.
Are you sure you didn't say that to yourself?
No. I've been told that many times.
Ivan looks in the mirror. There's 2 types of people in this world. And you're the rinseless washer.
Yeah, no.
That's how you motivate yourself in the morning?
Not at all. But that being said, rinseless washing, once you've tried it, once you've given it a chance, because a lot of people, their first time using it, they're apprehensive. You know, they've seen it on YouTube, they've read about it, they're not quite sure yet.
Yeah, it's an intimidating process. You're like, what is this stuff?
Yeah, and you've got a lot of people that, for some reason, proliferate hate about rinseless washing, and we've probably never even tried it. So they're stuck that I'm gonna stay, you know, with Ben-Hur and washing his chariot with soap and water. I'm not progressing past that. We've progressed past that in so many ways, and rinseless washing is one of those ways. The ultimate safe rinseless wash.
What does that even mean?
It means that we don't need to rinse the vehicle off. If you're in a drought situation, this one's for you. And even if you're not in a drought situation, just a faster, easier, and safer way of cleaning your car.
Hey Ivan, there's no way a rinseless wash can be safe. That's what people are saying out there.
Exactly, and it is safe. Technology working for us. You know, I used to dial the phone.
Hi, I'm Ivan.
With a rotary dial. And technology is advanced. Now I reach into my pocket, I got a phone in my pocket that's a computer and does everything else. Technology is advanced in the way we clean cars as well. And that is what a rinseless is. It's allowing us to clean the car safely without a need for excessive amounts of water.
You know what's nice and convenient? Easy to understand? This is actually called rinseless wash.
Exactly. It does what it says.
Yeah.
And the other thing is you can use a pressure washer. Now the car behind us, beautiful Porsche, it's not really that dirty. And we get the comment a lot on YouTube and all the social media that you're cleaning a clean car. Well, it has just dust on it. But if you are cleaning a dirty car, we're going to explain to you how to do that in conjunction with the pressure washer.
And I want to say that rinseless wash is a phenomenal way to wash your car.
Right.
But if you have caked on mud and a super nasty vehicle, you definitely want to use a pressure washer.
Yeah, you definitely want to use some form of running water. You can use a hose as well.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're still only going to be using the rinseless. We're not going to be using soap.
Okay.
So first off, we'll get rid of the second bucket.
Wait.
We don't need a 2-bucket method.
Just 1 bucket for the paint and 1 bucket for the wheels.
Exactly.
Okay.
And in here, it's 1/2 ounce to a gallon. It just so happens that our lid is 1/2 ounce. So it makes the dilution a lot easier.
So how many gallons we have in here?
We have 4 gallons of water, so 4 capfuls.
Okay. 1 capful per gallon. That's the easiest way for me to explain it.
And it's 256 to 1 is the dilution ratio.
Which makes no sense to most people.
Right.
Including me, and I've been doing this for a while.
Now, for those of you using the metric system, every 250 milliliters, you put 1 milliliter of that in. So for every liter, you put 4 milliliters.
If I over dilute this, is it the end of the world?
It's not the end of the world, but you actually shouldn't be over diluting. It will cause a bit of streaking and make it a little more difficult to wipe off.
Did you hear that? Ivan is not trying to sell you more product.
No, I'm trying to sell you less.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
And in our wash bucket, we have the new DIY sponge. So DIY sponge, we have red on one side, black on the other.
So is this where the dirt goes? Can you explain how this big red, black, new wash sponge even works? Because I mean, this is like Ivan's bread and butter. You've been helping design foam wash sponges for years.
Exactly. So what the foam does, if we look at a microfiber towel, so a lot of people do a rinseless wash with a microfiber towel, and that works. But the microfiber towel, the dirt actually stays on the surface. It's not being transported safely. And we have the possibility of pressure points because this is so thin. This, we have a nice thickness to it, so we don't have a possibility of pressure points, and at the same time, we have these slits that help it conform to the surface a little better, and the foam itself is actually bringing the dirt into it. So we never want to take our rinseless wash sponge and take it out of the bucket and just use it like this on the surface. This is actually too much liquid and it's not helping the rinseless do its job. So we need to actually, one squeeze, just so it's on the verge of dripping. That's when it's ready to use.
So can you explain the shape to me? Am I holding it like this, like this? What's the approach here?
Whatever way you want to.
This feels more comfortable.
Yeah, everybody's different. So
I'm playing a little bit of a devil's advocate. I know how all this stuff works, but people at home may have never heard of rinseless before.
Exactly, so you can use it like this or like this, whatever fits your hand better. The other thing that we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be pre-rinsing. We say a rinseless wash, but we're gonna be pre-rinsing using the rinseless wash and a sprayer. Now, a lot of people fret about the dilution of the sprayer. How do I dilute this? How much do I need to put in this? It's very simple. Mix up your wash bucket first. Now we have the exact right dilution.
And if you'd like to really overthink it, make sure that your bottle is not full of gunk and dirt from sitting on the ground.
Yeah.
You don't want to contaminate the water. Although the idea with the rinseless is you rub the sponge on the grit guard and the dirt drops to the bottom of the bucket.
Right. So we're going to pump up the sprayer till we hear the little psh from it.
Okay, and this is just an IK sprayer, got them on the website, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You can use a spray bottle at home. We're not trying to sell you the IK sprayer, although they're pretty nice.
Yeah, they are nice. And they're long lasting. So off we go. First step, we're gonna pre-rinse to allow the rinseless solution to start emulsifying the dirt, lifting it off the surface.
What does emulsifying the dirt mean?
Breaking it down. So it's taking that big clump of dirt, or dust in this case, and making it smaller and smaller and smaller, and breaking it into smaller and smaller pieces that will safely be removed from the vehicle. The other aspect of that is it's a Zwitter ionic formula, which means it's not negative nor positive. So the emulsifiers in it are separating on a little ionic cushion the dirt from the paint. It's a really neat thing. If you look it up, it's an interesting Google dive. So we're gonna be spraying it on the surface and the wheels and tires as well.
Can I give you a pro tip?
Yes, you can.
All right, so let me grab this IK sprayer.
Yeah.
I did a lot of mobile detailing in Park City, Utah. Snowy, cold, no access to a hose. And so you're doing rinseless washing, you're preparing for polishing. And what you do is you actually turn the nozzle a little bit until it's almost like you have your own little hose, right? So it's a pro tip where if you want to get into these seams, you get the PSI that maybe you're craving from a hose. So if worse comes to worse, we're running out of rinseless here.
Yeah.
But if, I just shook it. I don't know why I did that. If worse comes to worse, you've got tip to get, you know, some dirt out of the crannies.
Yeah.
And just a little pro tip.
Exactly. Now, as I mentioned, it's emulsifying, which means breaking things down. The dirt is being, you know, if we look at the dirt as a big piece, a big chunk, well, the rinseless is taking and breaking it into smaller and smaller pieces. And being a Zwitter ionic formula, which means neither negative nor positive, it's actually lifting that dirt on a little ionic cushion. And now we're ready to do the wheels. So
Okay.
Nick, you're good at wheels. You enjoy doing wheels.
Ivan likes to get me doing the dirty work here. You need about 18 different brushes for the ultimate wash, right, Ivan?
Exactly.
You don't need 18 brushes. We've pre-sprayed it with rinseless. I've got a rougher bristle brush here. Now you could do an all-purpose cleaner, like our All Clean first, and then sort of rinse it off with the IK sprayer there, with the rinseless in it. So you'd get a little of that emulsification with the all-purpose cleaner, a little heavy hitter in terms of cleaning, then rinse it off and then do this process. But I've just got rinseless in the bucket here, softer bristle brush here.
And that's
Ivan,
a flag tip nylon brush, so it's extremely safe, even on paint.
that's a separate video, Ivan.
Yeah.
Okay, and then don't forget the calipers if you can reach them into there. It's only a $500,000 car, might as well clean it the right way, right?
Exactly.
Dip it in the grit guard with the rinseless in there. Love the apple smell of our rinseless. And don't forget the barrels. Okay. Why do we clean the barrels, Ivan?
We clean the barrels because we want to. No, it depends on the wheel. You know, if you have a wheel that's very open like this one where you actually see the barrels, it's great to clean the barrels.
What's the longest you've ever seen somebody spend cleaning barrels and wheels?
Oh, hours.
Yeah, people get really into it, but
Yeah.
I think this is a fantastic ultimate rinseless way to do it. I mean, that felt so safe, super clean. Should I dry it down?
Yep, and
Ceramic gloss. Drying aid's gonna add that ceramic protection. I don't wanna spray it directly on the rim face because then it gets all in there. And when it's on my towel, it's just a super lubricated drying process. Just into there.
so the rinseless wash is already providing lubrication, and we're adding more with the ceramic gloss. And added protection when we're done.
And now I do want a separate towel to dry down the tire.
Just happen to have one.
It's almost like we're in the DIY detail garage.
Yes, we are.
Okay. What do you think, Ivan?
Looking good.
Okay.
There's another one to do.
Oh man. putting me to work over here.
Now, if you like a soap and water wash, we have another video that our editor is going to link somewhere up here. And that video explains how to do this with a foam cannon and pressure washer and soap and suds, and it's really fun as well. Great video. So depending on your style of washing or what your environment is putting on you. So there are places where you can't pull out the foam cannon and the hose and all that to wash your car. You have no choice. This allows us a choice. Now we're ready to wash. And you know, the nice thing about a rinseless wash as well is you can be termed a precision wash. So you're able to do the wheels, get them out of the way before we even started washing the body.
And we're not getting sloppy soap everywhere with the pressure washer blasting what's on the wheels back onto the paint. It's done.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Wheels
it's
are
clean,
done.
minimal water. That's what I love about it.
And if you're wanting to do tire shine, you'll wait till we're done here. Because yes, there might be a little drip or two going on the wheels.
Okay.
So we're gonna use our wash sponge here, squeezed out just to the point of dripping, and we're ready to go. And I'm not applying any pressure to the sponge. You know, what we're doing here is applying the rinseless. We're not using pressure on the surface. And once you've done a section of the vehicle, dunk, squeeze, and keep moving. You know, instead of walking back and forth to the bucket, we'll move the bucket with us.
I wish you had a helper to carry the bucket for you.
Yeah. Well, normally, you know, in my shops, we put our buckets on wheels. And it takes about 3 weeks to train a bucket to follow you around the shop, but eventually it does.
And also the little top corner there will get inside of handles.
Yeah.
All kinds of nooks and crannies for you.
So it allows us to get in here quite easily. And then we just work our way down the panel.
Always top to bottom, right?
Always top to bottom. And why do we do that, Nick?
Well, I was gonna ask you that question, because you're doing the rinseless wash tutorial.
Yeah, well, the reason we go top to bottom is simply we have probably more dirt on the bottom than we do on the top. We want to minimize risk as much as possible. So the way to minimize risk is to go from the cleanest area to the dirtiest area.
I might add, if we were going for the ultimate safe wash, that you would add an extra towel just for the lower dirty panels. Is that going too far?
Maybe a little bit. And now we're ready to dry.
Ceramic gloss in both hands.
Right, ceramic gloss and a proper drying towel.
Now there's a couple different kinds. I like Big Bertha over here.
Yeah, and I like the smaller towel myself, just a little more convenient, especially on a small vehicle like this. That being said, we're going for the ultimate and safe wash. Rinseless wash is a great drying aid by itself. It doesn't need any additional lubrication, but we're giving it additional lubrication just to be safe.
Because this is the ultra safe wash.
Exactly.
All right.
And at the same time, we're going to be providing protection to the vehicle. It's going to be glossier, shinier, and has ceramic protection.
I think ceramic gloss is my favorite product in the line. So I'm a happy
keep
camper.
saying that, so I'll believe you.
If he says it enough, he surely must be.
So I'm spraying a little bit on the surface and a little bit on the towel, and off we go. And these twist loop towels absorb so quickly that we're not going over the surface 4 or 5 times. We just need to hit it once and it's dry.
I like ceramic gloss on the windows as well.
Yeah. Now, Nick, I'm
corners.
going to give you a pro tip.
Oh, okay.
Hold my towel.
This is how it always goes.
Yeah.
Nick does all the dirty work.
All right. So when you're using a big towel like this, first of all, you want to fold it. So you had it all bunched up.
Oh, for the windows, I figured I can get a little sloppy on the windows.
So we can fold it up, and now we have a smaller surface to deal with. But if you like keeping it big and open and wide,
It's kind of my personality.
yeah, you can take your towel and you actually hold it at the top and then use the bottom to dry. That way you're guaranteed it's not going to hit the floor.
So this is your anchor point.
This is the anchor
Okay.
point, and this is allowing me to also envelop the mirror in soft, plush luxury towels.
It's almost like you've done an auto detailing training before.
A few.
How many have you done, do you think?
In the thousands.
This guy knows what he's talking about. And I always learn something new from you, Ivan, which I love. Okay, that was easy.
And you'll notice the wheels, so we washed the whole surface of the vehicle. You had done the wheels before, they're still dry.
Yeah, they didn't get wet from our rinseless process.
So there we have it. We have a beautiful Porsche ready to drive away. Nice and dry. And ceramic gloss.
Recording, check, check, check.
Checking, 1, 2.
This Fiat is so dirty, Ivan, it's time to bust out the all clean.
Actually, no Nick. I'm Ivan, he's Nick. This is DIY Detail, and we're gonna wash this with Rinseless.
I think the impulse for everybody out there is, let me get the all-purpose cleaner, let me pre-treat these panels, but yeah, I'm just kind of joking around here. We mentioned this can be done with a rinseless wash.
Right, and this car, if you remember it, there's gonna be a card up here. We did a ceramic coating on this vehicle, but not everywhere. And it's sort of easy to tell where there is ceramic coating when where there isn't any on this door. So look at the door compared to the rest of the car. Much dirtier. And since the last time we saw the Fiat, it's followed the bus for around 20,000 miles. It's been to Florida, it's been to the East Coast, it's been up and down, it's been to Quebec, it's been in the snow, it's been in the slush. It's done a lot of following of the bus, and it's been through 42 brush car washes and 3 touchless car washes.
Ivan had the grand idea. He's like, we're gonna coat every other panel, and we're gonna watch this over time.
Right.
You know, after a week, it was like, is this getting what we want? Because, you know, it was a freshly washed car. It seemed like all the panels were doing pretty well.
Exactly.
But time has told the story, hasn't it?
Oh, definitely. I have a few photos, and Nick can maybe insert one here somewhere. But anyways, we have photos of the car half and half, and it's incredible. Even the snow, the way it behaves on the vehicle is different. So we'll see this wash. The way we're gonna proceed though is a little different. Our rinseless, we can foam it. So we're gonna foam the rinseless on. We're not gonna pressure wash. To begin with, we're gonna start with the foam. And the reason we want to start with the foam is very simple. With the amount of grit that's on this vehicle, if we hit it with a pressure washer, we're going to be scratching it. The foam, the rinseless is gonna emulsify it, pull it off the paint, then we pressure wash it, and then we'll do the contact wash.
Yeah, I mean, you could just pre-spray this with rinseless wash, 256 to 1, which means 1 ounce of rinseless wash to 2 gallons of water. You could literally get your bucket set up and then dump some kind of bottle or sprayer in there and pre-spray.
Right.
So folks are gonna wonder, what dilution do I use to foam rinseless wash?
To foam the rinseless wash, we already have it set up with, let me read this, 750 milliliters of water, roughly around 25 ounces, 24 ounces. We're just gonna add 1 ounce of rinseless.
That's it?
Yeah, we don't need a lot.
See, I like to do 2 or 3 ounces. I like to get that crazy foam.
Right. When we have an instance like this, the crazy foam actually isn't helping us. We want to have sort of a runnier foam to help pull this down.
No kidding?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you learn something new every day. More is not always better, folks. Ivan is the efficiency guru. He wants to save you time and money. I tend to do the glug method, which is fun, but there's a more efficient way.
Right, and while you're there, if you can put that into the wash bucket.
Absolutely.
So in the wash bucket, we've got the Legacy sponge. Again, we hear this online a lot. I would never use a sponge on a car. Yes, the sponge is actually designed specifically for the rinseless wash.
How many ounces are we putting in here, Ivan?
2 ounces. We have 4 gallons of water.
I didn't know how many gallons you'd put in here. Sometimes you forget, is it a 4-gallon bucket, a 5-gallon bucket? 4 capfuls, yeah, every capful is a half an ounce.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Makes life a lot easier. And if you're on the metric system, very easy, 16 liters of water, 1 capful for every 4 liters.
It's a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
All right.
But we have people watching us from all over the world.
Yeah, we have availability now in many countries, territories, and it's gonna keep growing, so it's very exciting.
And if DIY isn't available where you are, call up your favorite distributor and ask them for DIY detail. The more people that ask, the more chances are they'll bring it in. So we have the rinseless in the foam cannon. We're just gonna set up the foam cannon just to make sure it's set up the way we want to. And when we do that, you don't want to start by aiming it at the car. You want to start by aiming it away from the car just to make sure this quick connect is doing its thing.
How do we know that, Ivan?
The way we know that...
What I mean is, how do you know you shouldn't do the thing?
Because I've seen tips going flying.
Have you ever been the one who's...
Yes.
Yes, I have too. It's not fun.
I've never aimed one at a car and had it fly at a car because I know that these quick connects are very reliable, but the human putting it in isn't always reliable. So here we go. foam and the rinseless move its way down, but we can already see that the grit's basically gone from the surface.
I'm so fascinated by this. So foam that clings longer, to me, I feel like it cleans better. But you mentioned runny foam is more helpful for kind of a trash car. Can you explain that again?
Yeah. If we have grease on a vehicle, we have oil, we want that thick, clingy foam. We want that to emulsify, to be able to work longer. If we have grit on the vehicle, like we had on this one, we want the foam to run off. And when it runs off, it brings that dirt down with it. Now that the foam has settled down and the rinseless is actually starting to dry on the surface, take our pressure washer, pressure wash it off. And of course, new tip, now, one thing we're going to do differently, we're going to time lapse this. We're actually going to air dry the vehicle. And the reason we're going to air dry it is just to see how much grit and dirt the rinseless actually took off the vehicle.
There might be someone out there who's like, what the heck is rinseless?
Right.
What are you doing? You got a pressure washer? What do you mean no rinsing?
Right. Rinseless means we don't rinse it afterwards. The polymers and the surfactants that are left on the vehicle act as lubrication for the drying process.
Yeah, this is a big deal. You're gonna realize it. You think to yourself, well, I do the soap wash, right? And then I have to rinse it off at the end, and then I apply my last step protection or dry the car. This, we're done with the pressure washer. We've pre-treated. We have definitely pressure washer. We're just gonna wash it and then apply our last step protection.
Right, exactly. So, let's get our leaf blowers and a master blaster, and let's dry this off. So Nick, we quickly air dried it using our tools, and it's still looking really dirty, because it is. Now the rinseless pre-soak, what it did is it took that heavy grit off. Now we're left with basically a film on the vehicle. And we're gonna pre-soak it again, just because we don't want to go dry with the sponge on a surface this dirty. So we'll just quickly pre-soak it, and then we can start washing with the Legacy sponge.
I'm gonna do wheels.
Very good, enjoy.
I'm very good at it.
You're a professional, Nick.
Where all have you been in the intervening couple of months here with the Fiat?
We, since leaving here, Georgia, Florida, a lot of the East Coast, back up to, where did we go after that? Oh, we went to Las Vegas, we went to Utah.
Yeah.
Since then, we were back here in Nebraska, then from there, back around up to Quebec, and back here. So it's been a few miles here and there.
What area of the country surprises you in terms of like an area that you love, that you didn't realize how awesome it would be?
We don't travel to see places, we travel to see people.
So do you think a boar's hair brush on lug nuts is over or underrated?
It's whatever you want to do.
It's whatever you want to do.
So with the Legacy sponge, we don't want to use it soaking like this. We want to squeeze it out. And the two colors, basically it's to give you an idea where you've been. So if you always start with one side and finish with the other, you know that, oh, I just finished the black side, it's time to go back to the bucket.
One thing Ivan taught me, and I've been detailing for years, he watched me clean wheels and just couldn't stand it, his OCD. He's like, just work in a clock. Just go around once in a clock, because I'd be over here and then over here and over here. You teach detailers, Ivan. What other simple things like that do people not realize they should be doing?
It's just getting a process down. And once you've got that process down, it's repeating it. So having a system in place, having standard operating procedures helps tremendously.
You think you know it all, and you realize every day as a detailer, you're just learning every day.
We learn every day. It's an amazing thing. Detailing is so much fun because you're always learning. There's always new techniques. There's always new people coming on board, and those new people are bringing new ideas to us.
And by the way, DIY Detail has a Facebook group with like 50,000 people in it. It's a safe space for anybody to ask questions, and Ivan mostly, but me as well. I kind of defer to you because there's so much that you've learned over 40 years. People ask questions and we're both super willing to answer.
Exactly.
Safe space for no such thing as a dumb question.
No, definitely. Sometimes some dumb answers, but no dumb questions.
I just don't like it when people make fun of others and say, how did you not realize this? And how did you not know this? Exactly.
Now, one thing I'd like to show, let me get closer to the camera here. Look how dirty the sponge is. We have dirt on the sponge. Drop it in the bucket. Lift it out of the bucket. I didn't go to the grit guard. It's perfectly clean.
One technique I heard recently from Graham, one of our really excited users, is to even be more efficient, he'll have two sponges in the bucket.
Yep.
He'll just drop one. He won't even run it on the grit guard.
Yeah.
And he'll grab the other one. So he'll just drop it, let the dirt fall out into suspension, boom, 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 drop it. And I thought that was really an interesting technique.
Exactly.
And I moved through those wheels pretty quick.
You did.
Now I just get to watch you clean, which I always enjoy.
We see the color coming back to the vehicle instead of an ugly gray. Now, we're not going to use a drying aid on this at all, simply because we're continuing our durability test on the coating.
Yeah, we cannot compromise this experiment by adding ceramic gloss to any panels, right? We just want to let them exist as is.
And again, very dirty sponge. Wow. Drop, lift, clean sponge.
I don't understand it, Ivan. It's science or something.
It is. Thank you, sir. Surprised you didn't go for our big XL towel. Oh, you've got one in your hands.
Actually, take this away from me.
Yeah.
I actually love these towels. I might like them more than the drying blanket now. I haven't decided. They're just so small and they dry so much.
The ones I've got, yeah, they're such a great little tool to have.
How is it even possible?
And it allows you to have one in each hand. That way you're never putting your greasy little fingers on the car.
Have we achieved the pinnacle of microfiber technology, or do advances keep happening?
Advances keep happening.
Like, what is going on? How do advances happen in towels? Because until I'd used this towel, I had no idea that a twist loop towel, you know, that folds into the size of basically your hand, could dry mostly an entire car.
Right, and if you look at the towel you've got in your hand, that's a twist loop as well, but it's a very tight weave of a twist loop. Oh, don't touch that side. Oh, didn't do that one.
We only did this side.
Right.
Okay.
There'll be another video using soap on the other side, for those that prefer a soap wash. So there we go. Now, the car is still looking shiny, still looking good, despite having been through 40-some car washes.
So Ivan, this is so grabby, and this is really buttery smooth, and we didn't add any protection to it, except for the coating, right? That's why we ceramic coat our car in the first place.
Exactly, and the rinseless wash leaves nothing behind. A lot of people are concerned about that the rinseless wash is going to change the coating, you know, or whatever LSP you have on the vehicle.
Last step protection?
Exactly, thank you. Whatever last step protection you have on the vehicle, that the rinseless wash is somehow going to alter it. The DIY rinseless wash leaves nothing behind.
Hey Ivan, can you give me a legacy sponge, big guy?
Actually, no. Today we're doing a rinseless wash with 10 plush microfiber towels.
I'm Nick.
I'm Ivan, and this is DIY Detail.
And I'm just sort of perplexed here. So, you're the sponge rinseless wash guru, and we're not using a sponge today?
No, a lot of people like the multiple towel method.
Ivan is the efficiency guy. I've never seen him with 10 towels. I'll probably never see him again with 10 towels. But for those out there who are so OCD that you only want to touch one side of your towel to the paint, and then you want to put it in the laundry, this video is for you.
Exactly. Now, in our bucket, we have 3 gallons of water. That means 3 capfuls
of rinseless wash.
The DIY Detail rinseless wash.
1 cap full. 2 capfuls. I'm thinking green Jolly Rancher, green apple Jolly Rancher is the scent a lot of folks are telling us about.
Now, the one thing, we have the dirt catcher in there, but we actually don't need it because we're never gonna be putting a towel back into the bucket.
But if we're gonna be OCD, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
And let's get these towels soaking in there.
Get them in there. I just think this is funny. It's like when folks who know Ivan said, what are you doing with a foam cannon and a car wash soap with incredible suds?
Yeah.
Not a guy known to do this or that. But it's kind of fun.
Oh yeah.
I've done this method before. Honestly, if I've coated a really soft black paint car and I just really don't want to scratch it, it's come back for a maintenance wash in my shop, I do something like this, just to satisfy my own OCD, even though I do believe in the science and chemistry.
Yeah, now, in the IKA foamer, we're gonna be putting 1 ounce to 32 ounces of water. We have 32 ounces of water already in there. Nick is gonna add 2 capfuls, which equals 1 ounce or 30 milliliters. And we'll be pre-treating with that and then pressure washing it off. Yes, it's a rinseless wash. It means you're not rinsing it afterwards. But there's nothing wrong with rinsing it before, especially when it's this dirty.
When it's this dirty, but if you have a lightly soiled car, all you need to do is pre-treat it with the rinseless wash. It's gonna start to break down the dirt, encapsulate it, and then you have a safe wash method. But in the middle of winter, you can do a rinseless wash, great if you have a hose, and it's gonna be a safer pressure wash process once you let the rinseless wash break some of that dirt and grime down for you. Because if you just touch your wash media to a vehicle that hasn't been pre-treated at all, you're introducing scratch risk.
Exactly.
And this is the OCD method.
Right, and while Nick is pumping that up, I'll get away from his noise a little bit and say that you can subscribe to this channel. You can give us a thumbs up, and please, please, we love the comments and questions. We answer every single one of them. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can see more videos like this.
You may not know that your foamer's not ready until it hisses.
Yeah.
I think it's ready.
It's close, it's close.
Okay.
Now, why are we foaming the rinseless wash?
Because it cleans better?
Exactly. And it's a lot of fun.
Oh, I get to pump it and you spray it, huh? Is that how this works? Oh man, it's pretty awesome that we have a foaming rinseless wash. This is not a super common combination in the industry, and no, Ivan, we worked really hard to get this rinseless wash to a pretty special place.
Right, and the rinseless wash, you know, it's an ever-evolving chemical. It's one of the fastest evolving chemicals in the industry. So our rinseless wash is the latest technology. We're able to combine polymers, which are super safe, lots of fun, with surfactants and emulsifiers. And the side effect of the surfactants and the amount of surfactants we have is foam.
And one thing folks have been telling us is they're really never had experience with a rinseless wash that cleans this well. The surfactants in this are pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And so it cleans surprisingly well. It makes a very effective pre-treat to paint before the pressure wash.
And really, I should have only put 16 ounces in here, so we put 1 capful instead of 2, and not have to pump it up as much. One of the things with the IK sprayer is the more liquid you have in it, the less time you'll have to spray.
Very fascinating. So the air in here actually, once you've pumped it up, works in your favor?
Exactly.
Does the foam on the front end give you a little bit more juice if you have less air, but lasts less long?
No, the quantity of foam, etc. stays the same, but it's just the more air you can introduce into this, the less often you're gonna have to add air to it.
Makes sense to me.
So we'll let this pre-soak a little bit. You notice I didn't do anything with the wheels. We're gonna be doing a separate video with the wheels. So these wheels are, let's say, challenging to our industry. So now that it's dwelled about a minute or two, we're not in direct sunlight, so we don't need to worry about that. We're in a climate controlled, thankfully, because it's really cold outside. But anyways, Nick's gonna go and pressure wash this off, and then we'll get to washing.
We have 10 towels in here. We're ready to rock and roll, but since we're going OCD, we might as well go all the way.
Right, so what we're gonna be doing is just another little pre-spray to get it on the surface to add more lubrication.
Now, as Ivan's doing that, you know, when you have your legacy sponge, you basically squeeze it out to basically nearly no longer dripping. I like a little bit more moisture. I like a little bit more rinseless wash in these towels. I don't know if there's any science to it, but I kind of prefer it. I feel like there's more lubrication. If I need to squeeze some out in a way that I feel like is going to lubricate the paint beforehand, I've got it in my towel.
Right. Now, one of the constraints of this method is you want to use a very thick towel, because one thing that can happen is pressure points. So you want to keep your hand as flat as possible and not dig in with your fingers. And like you said, a nice damp, wet towel does a great job.
So the way that I would do this, and we can talk about this, is I'm going to start here and I'm going to do this guy.
Right.
Or does it not matter at this point?
It helps. The way we pre-rinsed this and pre-treated it, it's a moot point at this point. There's no more grit left on this. We just have traffic film. But yes, rolling your towel is great. No pressure on the towel. Keep your hand as flat as possible. And you never dunk your towel back in.
Exactly. So one side at a time. But the roll towel method, if I understand it correctly, is you're going to start with the edge of it. And
you start flat and roll up.
You start flat and then you roll up so that you're never reinforcing dirt into the paint as you go along. So basically, and then you would flip the side.
Yeah, so we start flat, and as we go, we change the leading edge of the towel.
You always say it in a more eloquent way. I know this stuff. Ivan's the encyclopedia. So we're just gonna go flat for as long as you want. I mean, we got 10 towels here.
We have 10 towels, and each towel has 8 sides, but we'll just be using 4 sides of the towel.
And I'm gonna flip here. So I've used 2 sides so far.
Yeah, I've used 2 as well. And one of the major keys is no pressure. Let the towel glide on the surface.
Except for on the windows where you can be a little bit less precise, if I may say so myself.
Just gonna do the inside lip of the wheel well, and then this towel is done.
Ivan gets to do the laundry tonight.
Pardon me?
You get to do the laundry tonight.
I get to do the laundry every night.
Like an old married couple.
There you go.
And I'm gonna deem this our old towel bucket, discarded towel.
The one's ready for the laundromat.
Have you done this door? I've done these 2.
I'm just working on this door, and then we're done. And then we're done.
And then we're done? That is the most ridiculous comment I've ever heard, Ivan, because our camera died and we flipped the car around, did the same process, and we're gonna go ahead and dry it now.
So now we're at that point where we can dry. And Nick brought in a second bucket, as you notice, for the dirty towels. And he actually missed a spot on the door here, so we'll get another towel.
I missed a spot because I knew you'd see it, and then you'd have to clean it again. Because we had to use all 10 towels.
Right, exactly.
Or it wouldn't quite be the 10 towel method.
Yeah, so we can see that he missed a spot right there and right here. So we'll redo the door. One thing that's very important when you're doing this is
Hold on, Ivan. I did the door right on the other side.
Yeah, I know you did.
Okay.
You did, actually.
Sorry, one thing that's very important
is to be methodical in anything you're doing. So detailing, the more methodical you are, the more thorough you will be and the less you'll miss. So like we did with the pressure washing part of it, you know, not being over here and then over here and then over here. So Nick started to do the door, I watched what he was doing, and then went to do the mirror. Well, when he went to do the door again, he didn't know where he had been.
I will say, when someone else is watching you pressure wash and you're on camera, you think to yourself, maybe they're gonna think I'm slow. So I got in my head, but intuitively, which I use that word a lot, intuitively going back and forth in a methodical way seems pretty easy and it makes sense.
Yeah.
Did you know that
right here we got another dry spot.
Yeah.
So there we go. And we'll do that arch.
Pan the organizer said of Ivan, I've never seen someone work more slowly and get the job done faster.
Exactly.
So methodical.
Methodical. Basically having a process and using the process and not overthinking. So a lot of people, if you have a methodical process to do and you do it always with that same method, then you don't have to think about it all the time.
And when things come up, you can improvise.
Right. So, speaking of improvising, let's not improvise and let's dry instead. and that is our new waffle. Now you'll notice the size of our waffle is quite similar to the drying blanket.
I'm partial to the drying blanket.
And I'm partial to waffles. And if we put them side by side, we'll see that not much of a size difference. Yeah.
What you're gonna notice with the waffle though, it's going to be lighter. So these are great, they soak up a ton of moisture, but I'll bet you if we weighed these, there'd be a vast difference.
There's a vast difference. And there's gonna be another video soon actually comparing our towels. Now, one thing, you'll notice Nick had the sprayer there, and he put some on the vehicle and on his towel. Great method, excellent. We have had comments from people, though, that they feel they're using too much of it. And if you are getting streaking, you are using too much. And it all comes down to how your sprayer is set up. So these Talco sprayers, when they come to us, they're not set in any particular fashion. So if you look at the mist that I've got coming from mine, we have a nice fine mist.
And let's try this.
Right. We don't need to put ceramic gloss on the garage door.
Right.
So basically what happens is you can adjust these. So if you bring it in closer to the body of the sprayer, you can actually lock it up, but you get a very, very fine mist. So here, ooh, looks nice in the light. And then if you back it up though, you get a rougher mist. So we want the most atomization possible.
Yeah, the other day, Ivan and I were doing quick beads on a car, and he mentioned to me, an iron remover as well, I was misting, but my mist wasn't as wide. And he's like, you're actually going to be missing points on the paint. And so the more economical way to do it is get yourself the widest fan. You're going to hit all the points on the paint. You're going to use less product.
Right, exactly.
Which I love that. We'll use less product.
Yeah. And let's try the waffle. So waffle, they're great drying towels. They've been around a lot longer than the twist loop, and they just work. A lot of professionals actually prefer the waffle simply because of its lighter weight.
Any way to cut down on wear and tear on the body, especially as you get a little bit older, is much appreciated.
Yeah.
Ivan showed me a photo of myself polishing the other day. And I was grinding down on the paint, very un-Ivan-esque. And the one part of it, and you've got the whole explanation of why, you know, no heat is the perfect way to polish, and I agree with Ivan. But the one thing that got me was my posture. You know, I'm 36, I'm like, man, anything that can save your body and ergonomics makes sense to me.
Right.
Makes sense, Ivan.
So there we have it. We've cleaned both sides now of this Lincoln, and just back behind the mirror. Now
that's how you know Ivan is a lover of the detail game. Is you can't even see it on camera. I missed a spot, and he does that.
Yeah.
I love. It's the OCD wash, the 10 towel method.
Exactly. Did you like the 10 towel method? Are you missing the legacy sponge? Let us know.
And by the way, if you like the legacy sponge or you want to know more about it, we got a playlist right here, other independent reviewers and us.